introduce our next guest so we can give Brother Jeffries a nice round of applause.
Okay, brothers and sisters.
Excuse me. I forgot something very important to tell you all. We have a Holocaust museum that we would like you all to visit and to ask the brothers lots of questions because they have a lot of artifacts that are indigenous to our slavery here in this country, and they've come from Washington, and they would appreciate your patronage to go in and see them. It's very, very interesting. So after this lecture, you take a walk to the next room and visit the Holocaust Museum. Thank you.
We'll try it again. Hotep, brothers and sisters. Free the land. No justice. It's certainly a pleasure to be in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. But we've been set up. Brother Smalls and myself have been set up. They should have had that sister end this session, not begin it. I mean, her first presentation was bad enough. I had to leave and go outside and take some deep breaths outside. Then she lightened up, and I felt comfortable. Then she came back heavy. So let's give her and her daughters another round of applause. She actually sets a fantastic stage for my partner in struggle, Professor James Small's presentation. I see our lawyer at war has arrived. How you doing, brother? Free the land. The sister did a fantastic job of outlining several important areas that I'm sure Brother Small will touch on. And as I introduce him, I want to let you know what's happening around New York and the family of African at war that we have worked with. Brother Small has been a key factor in what has happened in New York over the last 20-plus years. He's been involved in every meaningful struggle for African peoples that there is. Every range of African consciousness relates to him, from those with the weapons, armed with real arms, those armed with a special heart, those armed with African tradition. He's touched the full range. And because he is capable of touching all of our people and their full range, whether from the established political leadership, religious leadership, down to those who you do not see that are mapping out serious struggle, he has provided an enormous revolutionary aura for me to operate around. And then we've surrounded ourselves with others who have complemented the process, including elder statesmen. Of course, we have our Dr. Ben and our Dr. Clark, our serious elder statesmen in the heart of Harlem. But on the edge of Harlem, you have another elder statesman who comes from the Caribbean, who is a stone-cold declared Pan-Africanist from his soul. And even though he comes from a little island, one of the littlest, he has one of the biggest consciousness in terms of Pan-Africanism, and that's Professor Edward Scobie, that young man in the white hair right there. And around Brother Small, you have serious sisters. Of course, I'd have to cite, number one, my partner, Rosalind Jeffries, who is a Harlem flower. And we have other sisters in struggle who are constantly there with us. And even when we don't want them, they're there, contributing and making sure that the battle is engaged. And one of them is here, and she's made her enormous contribution to you and has continued to do that with us. And that's our sister, Dr. Shashi McIntyre. So Brother Smalls has his roots deep in this nation, coming from South Carolina, and his South Carolina goes past the African South Carolina into the Native American indigenous people of South Carolina. So he has deep, deep roots in this country, and he is a undeclared, unadulterated Pan-Africanist revolutionary. That's Brother Small's introduction. Now, Dr. J would like to expand that to say that Brother Small and I have been working on some very serious endeavors with our world community. Most of you will not be able to even grasp some of it today because we won't have a chance to lay it out for you. But when we go to Africa, we go every year, and we're going in August to be with our people in Ghana. We'll be going next year with several hundred of us, as ASCAC will have its second international conference in Ghana. When we go to Ghana, it's a special relationship with the continent. You have to begin to understand when a person like Brother Small feels so strong about his Africanness and our link to the continent, he can declare to traditional leaders that we are African, that we are claiming our rights, that we are in exile, prisoners of war in America. Can you imagine someone looking at a traditional chief, looking at a major priest or priestess and making that declaration? So when we go to Africa, Africans know we come for something serious. We're reclaiming the continent. We not only want the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 states in America. We want that continent. We're reclaiming those forts and dungeons along that coast of Africa, from Gorée through James Island in the Gambia, Bunce Island in Sierra Leone, down to the 40 and 50 in Ghana, Elmina, Exum, Shama, Cape Coast, Usur, Jamesport, on down to Dahomey, to Nigeria, to Rwanda, all the way around to Fort Jesus in Mombasa. We're claiming these instruments of our degradation and separation that have to be transformed into monuments of our reattachment to the continent. These are our Holocaust monuments. These concentration camps of death speak volumes about our people. We are the survivors. We have a common ancestry that we will not let the Africans on the continent forget. We have rights and obligations to the continent that are very real. And I'm blessed to have a Brother Smalls with me when we raise these questions. But our brothers and sisters on the continent, like many of our people here, are being sold down the river again for a few dollars. The slave forts and dungeons are being sold to Europeans. Elmina, where it all started, is now an international, world-class monument to be a tourist attraction. Cape Coast is heading that way. The Dutch want Fort Amsterdam not to reveal their dirty hands in the enslavement system, but they want to create a monument to the Dutch colonialization of Africa. I see our sister Dr. Blakey is with our great Queen Mother. Spent a night in Cape Coast dungeon as a witness. A few years before, I spent a week in that dungeon. That's why I speak so strong about it. People don't understand. I've been going forth in those slave forts and dungeons since 1961, when some of you were not even born. Every year I've been there. And the ancestors speak to my soul every time. One of our great leaders, Gary Bird, decided to go over to Africa 2 years ago, and I told him, Gary, come over with us so you can be introduced to this process. Just don't go over there by yourself. And he went over, didn't take my words, couldn't come over with us, went over by himself, led a group of people. When they got to Cape Coast dungeon, the ancestors destroyed his very bearing. He lost control. You have to understand the power that's in those forts and dungeons. We cannot give them over to the Europeans or to Negroes who don't understand or Africans who don't have the consciousness. So we have a major responsibility, brothers and sisters, to get on a good foot and make this reparations real. Several levels of reparations need to be understood. Yes, we need to get as much wealth as we can get together and build those institutions for liberation here in America. Yes, we need to get those wealth and resources so we can make sure that the continent is our continent for the 21st century. We've been blessed with the greatest resource that humankind has given any other branch of humankind, the African continent. We have to make it work for us. Everybody in the world sees the African continent as a part of their 21st century except African people. Japanese know they can't go forth without the African continent. The Arabs know they can't go forth without the African continent. The Europeans know they can't go forth without the African continent. Everybody has a plan for Africa. It's